Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive right into something pretty intense today, the sheer scale and hidden complexities of a massive year-long child exploitation crackdown that recently wrapped up in Riverside County, California.
Let's kick things off with a staggering number, 500. During this operation, law enforcement tracked over 500 unique internet addresses. And these weren't just random, right? Officials believe they were directly tied to illegal peer-to-peer network activity. I mean, just think about the sheer volume of data required to track 500 unique nodes of illegal traffic. It absolutely gives you a sense of just how sprawling this whole network really was.
Which brings us to Section 1, Inside Operation Volcano, a year-long investigation.
To really wrap our heads around the scope here, we have to look at how this played out. This wasn't some quick overnight sting. It was a methodical process taking place over an entire year in Riverside County. Investigators zeroed in on those online peer-to-peer networks we just mentioned, specifically targeting the distribution of child sexual abuse material. And all that painstaking tracking? Well, it eventually culminated in dozens of executed search warrants, a massive logistical undertaking, for sure.
Moving right along to Section 2, Who was arrested? The faces behind the screens. So after all those warrants were executed, 42 individuals were officially taken into custody. Taking down a network like this takes pinpoint precision. Identifying 42 actual people out of a sea of anonymous digital traffic is literally a monumental task. But what's deeply unsettling here is who these people actually were.
Shockingly, they didn't fit into just one expected profile. They came from a remarkably wide range of professional backgrounds. We're talking healthcare workers, government employees, and folks in positions of high public trust. People deeply integrated into everyday community life.
And this comparison brilliantly highlights the disturbing dissonance at play. You've got their trusted, public-facing roles contrasting super sharply against their high-risk realities. Investigators pointed out that several of the folks arrested were already considered high risk because they had prior criminal histories related to sexual offenses. Plus, some had professional access to children or were already under active supervision in the justice system. It's a really stark contrast between public trust and private danger.
Just to really underline how severe this risk is, officials gave a specific example. One of the suspects caught up in the sweep was reportedly already wanted on a completely separate, high-value warrant linked to serious sexual assault charges. It just goes to show these digital networks are often hiding individuals who pose very real physical threats in the real world.
That leads us right into Section 3, the Digital Evidence Challenge, from arrest to conviction.
Look, the reality of prosecuting modern cybercrimes happens in stages. Step 1 is the physical arrest, which we just covered. But to actually get to Step 3, securing a conviction in court, the investigation has to cross the bridge of Step 2, the highly complex, often completely unseen world of digital forensics. Because honestly, an arrest is really only as strong as the digital evidence backing it up.
And that brings us to the definition of digital forensic analysis. Officials constantly stress that this is a highly time-consuming and resource-intensive process. You're dealing with encrypted drives, hidden files, and absolute mountains of data. Without dedicating the immense time required to extract concrete digital evidence, prosecutors are going to have a really tough time building strong cases. A device sitting in an evidence room is basically useless until you pull the data from it.
Which takes us to Section 4, a coordinated national effort, connecting the agencies.
As you can imagine, you simply cannot run an operation tracking 500 IPs and processing massive forensic data in a vacuum. It requires this deeply coordinated grid of collaboration. You have local law enforcement doing the physical warrants, specialized task forces bringing in highly specific technical skills, and federal authorities providing the broader jurisdiction and resources. By working together, they tackle these networks not just on a local level, but as part of a growing national strategy.
Finally, let's zoom out for Section 5, the ongoing fight, the real stakes.
When you look at the broader context, the stakes are just incredibly clear. Across the U.S. in recent years, federal authorities report that thousands of missing children have been located. And tragically, many of those kids are identified as victims of the exact same types of exploitation networks that Operation Volcano targets. Every server they shut down sends out a ripple effect.
Now, while officials haven't confirmed if any specific victims were rescued directly from this exact Riverside operation, they stress a really critical point. Efforts like these are absolutely crucial in disrupting harmful networks and protecting vulnerable individuals.
The disruption itself is a vital step toward rescuing victims and bringing offenders to justice.
Which leaves us with a massive question to think about as we wrap up this explainer. As illegal digital networks continue to evolve, adopt new tech, and hide even deeper on the web, how will law enforcement adapt to stay one step ahead and protect the vulnerable? It's a continuous cat-and-mouse game, and operations like Volcano really show just how complex that fight has become. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep asking the big questions about the forces shaping our digital world.